Hi everyone, we are now in lesson 2 and our topic is all about the global economy. Let's start. The United Nations tried to address the different problems in the world. Their efforts were guided by the 8 Millennium Development Goals, which they created in 1990s. So there are 8. First, we have eradication of extreme poverty. Then we have achieving universal primary education, promoting gender equality and women empowerment, reducing child mortality, maternal health, combating diseases like HIV, AIDS, and malaria, then ensuring environmental sustainability and global partnership for development. Okay. Since there are different standards of living around the world, we can expect different meaning attached to it. In the Philippines, a person is officially living in poverty if he makes less than 100,534 pesos a year, around 275 pesos a day. So, can you just imagine? Extreme poverty, according to the United Nations, is a condition characterized by severe deprivation of basic human needs, including food, safe drinking water, sanitation facilities, health, shelter, education, and information. The United Nations reported that 836 million people still live in extreme poverty, but that is down from 1.9 billion. So there is a success, or at least a lot of progress already. So why is extreme poverty falling? The answer to this is complicated. A set of factors like better access to education, humanitarian aid, and the policies, if international organizations like the United Nations or UN have made a difference. The world's economies have become more interconnected, and free trade has driven the growth of many developing economies. Then let's go now to economic globalization and global trade. According to the United Nations, economic globalization refers to the increasing interdependence of world economies as a result of the growing scale of cross-border trade of commodities and services, flow of international capital, and wide and rapid spread of technologies. It reflects the continuing expansion and mutual integration of market frontiers and is an irreversible trend for the economic development in the whole world at the turn of the millennium. Two types of economies associated with economic globalization. First, we have protectionism, which means a policy of systematic government intervention in foreign trade with the objective of encouraging domestic production. So that is meant by protectionism. Trade protectionism usually comes in the form of quotas and tariffs. Tariffs are required fees on imports and exports. For example, a pen that costs $1 in country A and in country B it would be given $5 tariff. The pen would become $6 in country B. This policy was practiced during the mercantilist era from 16th to 17th centuries until the early years of the Industrial Revolution. A Great Depression of 1929 marked the peak of protectionism. Until today, protectionism exists in the world economy despite the growth of trade liberalization. countries such as China, Japan, and the United States are being accused of practicing protectionism. Second is trade liberalization, or we call this one free trade. Free trade agreements and technological advances in transportation and communication mean goods services move around the world more easily than ever. So that is free trade agreement. Then we also have here free trade or fair trade rather, as defined by International Fair Trade Association, is the concern of the social, economic, and environmental well-being of marginalized small producers. So it's simply showcasing one country's product. It aims for a more moral and equitable global economic system around the world. Specifically, it is concerned with protection of workers and producers, establishment of more just prices, engagement in environmentally sound practices and sustainable production, creation of relationships between producers in South and consumers in the North, promotion of safe working environment. Products like coffee, bananas, cotton, wine, tea, and chocolate have been exchanged in the light of fair trade. Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, coffee growers in Brazil get at least $1.29 per pound of coffee beans compared to the current market price of $1.25. So that is now the effect of fair trade. So we have here Starbucks coffee, then Dunkin' Donuts, and then a coffee grower in Brazil. Then we also have here integration of economies, which made possible by technology, communication networks, internet access, growth of economic cooperation, trading blocs, collapse of communism, then movement of free trade. Benefits of free trade. Okay. Increased choice. So there are now a lot of choices or competitions. If a product or a certain economy has a lot of competitions, it means that the economy is dynamic. Greater potential for growth. Increased international economies of scale. Greater employment opportunities. There are also disadvantages of trade. First is the increase in gap between the rich and the poor, dominance of global trade by the rich northern hemisphere countries, then lack of opportunities for the poor to be able to have access to markets, then there would be exploitation of workers and growers. So these are the group organizations for corporate expansion. We have what you call multinational or transnational corporations, or MNCs or TNCs, businesses with headquarters in one country but with business operation in a number of others. So those are the group. We have NAFTA, ASEAN, European Free Trade Association, EU or European Union Canada Fair Trade Agreement. We have Japan Free Trade Agreement, then US South Korea Free Trade Agreement. And it has a characteristics. First, expanding revenue, then lowering the costs, then sourcing raw materials, controlling key supplies, control of processing. Then we have global economies of scale. The early capitalist ideas, we have here the term free market economy. Market is free from state control. Then there is division of labor and, of course, competition. So those are the key terms with this um, section. Then economies are increasingly linked together. So these are the organizations. We have North American Free Trade Agreement, then the EU, European Union, then we have also the WTO, World Trade Organization. So only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between nations. The goal is to help producers of goods and services, exporters and importers conduct their own business. So we have different companies here like the Nike, Walmart or Royal Dutch Shell companies. Top 100 multinationals are all US owned companies. So here, going back to the Shell company, global group of energy and petrochemical companies operating in more than 140 countries and territories, employing more than 112,000 people around the globe. So that's it. And then key issues here. Okay. So these are now the challenging issues in our part to ponder or to research. Do you think there would be damage to the environment? There would be exploitation of labor, then monopoly of power, economic degradation, then non-renewable resources, or even damage to cultures. So what do you think are the reasons behind this one? Then other issues to consider is that accountability of global businesses, increased gap between rich and poor fuels potential terrorist reaction. So what are those? Then ethical responsibility of business, efforts to remove trade barriers. So those are issues that we need to deal with and to research. And then for further readings, I included here links as your guide. I also included this one in your module for you to give more knowledge and overview about the global economy. So these are the references of mine, all right? And then I also included here suggested readings. This is also found in your module and other online sources to give you more knowledge about the things I shared to you. Then images link I also included here. All right. So thank you very much for your participation. And then feel free to give more insights about our topic and then ask questions. Thank you very much and then see you again.